To make room for the new you to achieve all your financial goals and life goals, you have to be prepared to kill off parts of the old you. It's just the reality of the situation. It would be nice if we could stay exactly the same and hit all of our goals, but if our current version of ourselves was capable of that, we would have succeeded already. So there's just a natural progression that has to happen when you say out loud that you want something different for your life, especially financially. There's a level of dedication that is required that you have not exhibited before. I've seen this in my own life with how my wife and I have fun, what we do with our daughter. When you limit yourself or you take away options that are simply spending money in order to have fun, you start to get creative, you start to like different things because you've decided that the goal is more important than the temporary fun that you had from all those things you used to do. And for a lot of people, that's really, really hard. I mean, for myself too, very hard in the beginning. But I want to make sure everyone who hears that understands that this is not specific to finance. All of the things that we spend money on typically that aren't necessities aren't necessarily good for us. A lot of them we use as numbing devices. I mean, think about the things you like to do that are extracurricular, that you just do on a weekend. Whether it's going out to the club, going out to eat, getting alcohol, weed, going to the movies, shopping, buying new shoes. All of it serves to numb us from the realities of our situation. So often I've seen people say, I want to do better financially, and then turn around and spend money that directly negates the goals they have for themselves. And I don't think that's because they don't truly want that goal. I think a lot of times life's tough and it's easier to numb the pain than to deal with the reality. But the other side of that coin is if you always are numb to your reality, you can never really change it. That's kind of the thing with dealing with your reality. Once you stop numbing, all there is the reality around you. You have to face it. And that's what I personally realized. I'll give you an example. Something I recently stopped doing, well, really not recently, it's a couple of years ago now, is I stopped drinking. Personally, I felt like it was a tool that I was using to cope with hard days. And a lot of people do this, right? If we have a hard day, we decide, all right, I'll have a drink. Or some people like a glass of wine or, mixed drink, or sometimes people like just straight bourbon or rum, whatever. And I would have a beer and I feel better. The problem is after I would have a little buzz, after I get drunk sometimes, when you wake up the next morning, my reality was still there. The things that I had that I originally was trying to get away from when I had the drink were just staring me in the face, and now I had a hangover to accompany it. So all I did was push the problem back and make myself worse. And I think that's the thing that got me to switch. I eventually realized that was not a formula for actually winning. It was making me feel better in the short term, but it was killing me long term. And I think so many of us trade the short term, the long term for the short term. Because in the moment, it feels just overwhelming and overbearing. And I get that. But the reality of it is, you have to go through that hardship in order to get better. You don't get better without that. Now, I'm not saying nobody should drink. I'm not saying no one should go out to eat ever. I go out to eat still. I just do it within my budget. And then things that I find that are just wholeheartedly not good for me, I just don't do them. When I can help it, when I can recognize, hey, I'm not getting any benefit from this, then it's just time to hang it up. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, because it's just so normal now to cope with life by avoidance. Numbing is just how we get through. And I think that's part of the reason so many people struggle with depression, anxiety. It's because we just addict ourselves to different things that give us short-term happiness, when the real problem is our long-term prospects are shit. The question should be, how do we change our long-term prospects? Now, a lot of people will probably say that feels hopeless. In the beginning, it can. It's true. But the reality of it is that you are a lot more in control than you realize. I had to admit to myself that the things that I was saying just seemed insurmountable. Actually, I could fix quite easily if I was willing to put the time in. That's the hard part. Are you willing to consistently put the time in every single day, even when you don't want to? That's the part that sucks. But that's life. If you want to get out of debt, you have to be willing to tell a lot of people no. If you want to lose 50 pounds, you have to be willing to eat a lot of things that other people aren't eating. Probably gonna have to exercise, which many people aren't doing. You want to look better than everyone else? You want to be in a financial position that's better than other people? You have to do what they're not doing. You cannot expect to do what the general population does and get better than average results. It's just not common. Could it happen? Sure, but would you really want to bet your life on that? That you'll be the lucky one? I personally wouldn't. And that's why I had to change for me. And I also, because I don't want that for my family. And I don't think anybody really does, if we're honest with ourselves. I don't think anyone wants to be average. I think we settle for average because it's easier. I think we settle for less than what we can actually accomplish because it's easier than having to walk the road by yourself, alone, every single day, and say, even if you have family members and friends who cheer you on, because you still have to ultimately make the decision. Even if you have people in your corner, it's still up to you. It's hard to do that every day, even when you're not immediately seeing progress. Can you imagine you're trying to lose 50 pounds, you work out for 2 weeks straight, your body's sore as hell, and you get on the scale and you've lost a half a pound? That's tough. I get that. I understand why people could struggle with that. But that doesn't mean it's not working. And that's the other part of what our society has done to us, tricked us into believing, is that the way you know something's working is instant results. Everything we do now, instant. Instant, instant, instant. And while our social media accounts and movies, TV shows, the way we interact with each other in the digital landscape, that's how it works there. With real life shit, it just doesn't work that way. Almost nothing worth doing comes instantly. Almost nothing. And if it does, it's because, again, you're probably trading short-term gain in lieu of your long-term goals. So, the question is, what parts of you that are hindering you today are you willing to give up? For me, it was drinking. For me, it was spending money frivolously as if I had it in spades. Those are the things that got me some success in my financial goals and in my life. Think about what you can do to give yourself more time out of the day and more money in your pocket. Because we all have vices, all of us. And if you say you don't, I think you might be lying to yourself. All of us do things to make ourselves feel better. The question is, what are your things? And how can you transform those things into positives or replace them with things that are positive that can actually help you achieve something? How do you become the person that you want to be without changing the person you currently see in the mirror? I would put to you that it is not possible. I would put to you that a part of you has to die. Which part are you going to put to rest so that you can be everything that you think you should be? That's the question. But I'll leave y'all with that. Some late night thoughts of mine. Talk to you later.